Audio reviews with the Schmucks. When your desire to be perceived as an oracle of all things audio and video preclude you from actually thinking your testing regimen thoroughly. And what we have is DarqueKnight, who is a professor of electrical engineering, going on about the benefits of this Uptone audio Ethernet switch. And he's going to move this to the video domain to try to prove a point. And we do get into some areas where we're talking custom supplies, modded disc players, etc. We have an experimental setup, so we'll give it to him that it is experimental and it's very poorly thought through. He's got a camera rig and he's just snapping a screenshot, and he's into saying that, here are the differences with one switch versus another. Now, the problem that we get into is he's using an Oppo disc player, and he's using the consumer remote that comes with an Oppo. So if you've ever done any video editing, old school is still used by traditional editors is a jog shuttle control, where we can actually go to a specific frame in our footage. You're not going to be able to do that with the consumer remote. You are guessing as to which frame you're on. And he also does Ethernet cable comparison. The problem that we have again here is that digital systems have frame buffers, and that means that you can start your playback, you can pause on wherever you pause, and you can pull the Ethernet cable, and you're still going to have what's on screen because it's actually buffered and it's being held. The data has already been delivered. This connection has nothing to do with it at that point. So of course, since this is in the paid sponsorship thread by Uptone, we have Alex getting there. He's like, thinks this just proves everything that everybody has said. And I don't think that Alex should have put his eggs in this basket quite so quickly. And it just shows the same lack of critical thinking. And then we have the usual people that just want, their bias is confirmed by somebody and got reports and accolades about somebody that hasn't thought through, and well, neither have they. Blah, 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 blah. We spend all this money, we get all of this reward on it, and I'm about, along with some others, about to crash the party. And my first question is when you did this, did you simply pause the video and swap out cables? If not, how do we get to the exact same frame? I have some questions about how the camera's set up. Really, more importantly, are we remotely actuating the exposure on the camera, or are we actually tapping a button on the camera? And that just kind of goes through, are we going to disrupt the alignment of the camera to the screen? And Paul points out the same thing. Photographs of the screen show a likely focus shift. And he makes the same exact point, exact frame fix. And my suggestion is that Rafe should have just used a stock 4K HDR image, which there are thousands of stellar examples out there of that type of stock photography. Here we have it as admission that he is not stopping on a particular frame. It is guesswork. And Paul does a great job of taking two of these, overlaying them, and just doing a loop animation, and you can quite clearly see this cannot be the same frame. at all. There is too much shift in the actual position of like hair follicles on the image. If you look down at the 6 o'clock, you'll see those shifting on the horizontal plane left to right. And then obviously the eye aperture is is going large and small as it's cycling between these. I ask, why don't you do this with a 4K HDR photo? And I want to point out the utter irony to this, because I don't watch photographs, I watch movies. All right, if you don't watch photographs and you watch movies, why are you posting photographs? Why didn't you use the video record feature on your camera and actually take like a 30-second snippet of this and post a snippet? I mean, really? And my point is so soundly rooted in logic that he's just got to agree, and he does. And a static image does alleviate the guessing. And a static image doesn't take away from any of the transference properties of the EtherRegen versus the other Cisco switch that he's talking about. Now, I didn't wrap this in sarcasm quotes, and I ask these questions just to kind of prove a point that people aren't thinking straight. And the Oppo remote is even capable of stopping on the same frame. And he gives us back, that would be a good question to ask Oppo. Well, it's like, then you should have asked Oppo. You should have thought about this. You thought about everything else to quote unquote prove your point, to prove that, you are the big dog, that you were so much in a hurry to do this that you just took everything that was not going to confirm your bias and just eschewed it. And you weren't going to bring any critical thinking into this. And I just got to say that's disconcerting as somebody that is teaching EEs, because your bias to this has got to come into your teaching. I can't see how it doesn't. He's answering Paul here. Paul's right. We can see it on the looping, and DarqueKnight Rafe is not going to give him that, even though it's patently obvious that it's a different frame. It's not the same pick. And here we've got Paul. He is definitely just sticking to his guns on this, and that this is a different image. Alex, if you believe this in your own setup, we will A/B this against some other switch. I've already created a video where I've shown your EtherRegen and an Aruba switch in a lag on a teamed adapter off of a machine where I am playing back audio uninterrupted while I am pulling cables out and plugging them back in. So any day of the week, right in your own viewing den, we will set this up and see what you think. We're getting back to the exact same frame or whatever. This is absolute bullshit. This is a purposeful obfuscation, and you're not being truthful here. You have to be on the exact same frame, or better yet, just get an HDR, 10 or 12 bit, 4K picture or test pattern like you said. and I don't know why you didn't do it, but the fact is you didn't do it. The last point we're going to touch on is these different Ethernet cables. Again, in your system, I'll come right into the lines den. I will come with some Belden cable, and I will tone out and terminate right in front of you, like any of the cables that you have displayed here, and put it in your system, blind you to what's in use, and let the chips fall where they may. So I can create shielded or unshielded cabling, no problem. I can do fully tied shield. I can do floated at one end. I can do a fully floated shield. It's not a problem. I got all the equipment to make it. It's, $60 worth of, termination equipment. Not a problem. I want to thank you for watching. Please feel free to comment. I have to date not actually censored any comments. If anything was to be, totally beyond the pale, of course, I'll hide those. But I do welcome open discussion. What I really welcome more than discussion is open discovery, where we do a get together on this, and we come together, we bring some of this stuff, and we actually do some real world evaluation and testing. I think that's the real eye opener on this.